Thank you, Lily, from Politico.
The European Union had been expected to announce today whether or not it will grant a Brexit extension. But the uncertainty in London could put that plan on hold. Richard Good, Euronews.
Well, let's go to our correspondents in Brussels and Westminster for some reaction to yesterday's developments. Let's start in Brussels with Maeve. In light of yesterday's events, Maeve, in the UK Parliament, are we still expecting some movement from the EU on whether there will be an extension?
Well, the short answer is no. We were thinking that we would be hearing from the Council President Donald Tusk after EU ambassadors met this morning. They have a meeting scheduled for 10 o'clock. But after Boris Johnson, the UK Prime Minister, last night threatened to pull the Brexit deal if the Labour opposition leader Jeremy Corbyn does not support the general election he's calling for on the 12th of December, there's a little bit of uncertainty now in the air, and EU ambassadors decided not to take a decision today, but rather postpone it to early next week, to Monday or Tuesday, when they have more clarity. Now, before this ultimatum from Boris Johnson, the timeline was pretty clear from the EU side, and Donald Tusk spent yesterday on the phones to EU capitals, encouraging them to give an extension until the 31st of January. Meanwhile, over in Strasbourg, European parliamentarians were also putting pressure on him, sending him a note calling on the European Union to extend that extension to the 31st of January. But today, Friday morning, 25th of October, just under 1 week until the 31st of October, the current extension runs out. There seems to be just more uncertainty and not clarity, with many diplomats telling us here that they do not want to be dragged into British politics.
In April, when the UK was given an extension, Donald Tusk said, please don't waste this time. But here we are, Boris Johnson has reluctantly had to ask the EU again for more time. Are they likely to grant an extension? And if they do, when we hear of that early next week, how long might it be for?
Well, how long might it be for? That is, of course, the million-dollar question, because 26 member states are currently on board with that 31st of January, so that 3-month extension that Boris Johnson asked for. But the French have been putting their foot down, and it was in fact French ambassadors yesterday who decided to wait until early next week to take a current decision. The French have also been calling for a shorter extension, perhaps just till the 15th of November, because as Amélie de Montchalin, the Europe Minister for France, has been saying on the radio just last night, they need to make sure they have clarity about what this extension will be used for. She was calling on her British counterparts to not live in a world of fictional politics, but rather in a factual world, calling for facts in order for the EU side to be able to make decisions. As you can see, the French are frustrated, as are many other ambassadors and diplomats from other EU member states regarding all of this. They want to have clarity, they want to have certainty for business, but the majority also want to give a little bit more time to their British counterparts in order to take that right decision.